Hello, everybody. My name is Brad Cruz. I am the Associate Vice President of Alumni Relations here at Case Western Reserve. Welcome to the Awards Luncheon. We are glad you're here. First of all, I'd like a round of applause for Gaetano Parks. He played our prelude music, and he played on the piano that was donated by Nancy Kerfies Johnson, a triple alumna of Case Western Reserve University. Nancy. It is wonderful to have you back on campus, sharing your memories and walking down memory lane. And I yesterday actually worked check-in, so I was walking people around, and I learned so much. And I hope nobody tests me, but I'm really going to be prepared next year, I promise. You are living proof that we can continue to think beyond the possible and achieve dreams that are born of our boldest thoughts. I hope you're as proud of Case Western Reserve University as we are of you. It's a thrill to welcome you home. Homecoming is a celebration for our entire community. Families, alumni, friends, faculty, staff, and the students. Speaking of students, the homecoming court is here. We would love for the homecoming court to stand and be recognized. No, there they are. Thank you. These exceptional young leaders on campus embody the Case Western Reserve spirit. It's also great to have so many members of the university's leadership in attendance. It is my pleasure to welcome Chief Academic Officer of the University, Provost, and Executive Vice President, Ben Vinson III. Oh, there he is. Also, many of our distinguished academic leaders are with us today. When I call your name, please stand and be recognized. Interim Dean Sandy Russ, College of Arts and Sciences. Dean Pamela Davis, School of Medicine. Dean Raghu Balakrishnan, Case School of Engineering. Dean Jessica Berg, School of Law. Dean Kenneth Chance, School of Dental Medicine. From the Jack Joseph Morton Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences, Dean Grover C. Gilmore. Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing, Dean Carol M. Musil. And from Weatherhead School of Management, Dean Manoj Malhotra. We would also like to welcome back to campus those people who graduated 50 or more years from the university. We call this group our Grand Classes. We have about 200 Grand Class alumni attending homecoming throughout the weekend, but here today we have 100 in attendance in our audience. If you are a member of these Grand Classes, please stand or wave or let us see you. We're glad you are here. Last night, we celebrated those who contributed to the annual fund at the year-end celebration. Your gifts to the annual fund are further recognized with a distinction on your name badge. Every donation to our university makes a difference. Thank you for your continued and loyal support. For those loyal and true supporters, please be sure to visit the Shine On area, which is just downstairs in the building near check-in on the first floor. The Shine On area recognizes alumni commitment to the university as donors and/or volunteers. As some of you may know, we are distributing a few tokens of our appreciation as a message of thanks, a button, and of course a bag of popcorn. It's going to be a fun weekend. While there, we invite you to snap a photo with family, friends, fellow alumni, maybe some deans and faculty members, and at the Shine On photo booth. Thanks to all our alumni donors and volunteers for all the ways you help the university shine on. At this time, continue to enjoy your lunch. I'll be back to introduce President Snyder. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the president of Case Western Reserve University, Barbara R. Snyder.
Oh, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome you back to campus and to homecoming weekend. We hope you enjoy the many activities we planned for you, and also the fun of catching up with friends and checking out what's new at Case Western Reserve. Among the milestones we are celebrating, the 10th anniversary of the African American Alumni Association, and its leader is here. So thank you, Vera Perkins Hughes, its president, for being with us today. The 10th anniversary of the Fowler Center for Business as an Agent of World Benefit at the Weatherhead School of Management. And our student newspaper, 50 years since its founding. And speaking of 50 years, I want to add to Brad's congratulations to our grand classes. It is always wonderful to see our 50-year alumni come back to campus. We are so grateful for your engagement, for coming back and visiting us from time to time, for supporting your alma mater. And this year's award winners are a spectacular group. You're in for a treat when you get to hear about them. Some of them came from as far away as Kampala, Uganda. You're going to hear about Dr. Jewel Oba soon. And some of them came from very nearby. You're going to hear about our acclaimed architect, Robert Madison, who is an emeritus trustee of Case Western Reserve and therefore one of my bosses. So very important. Now, Bob is very special to me and to us, and if you make it over to Adelbert Hall, you can see his portrait hanging in our boardroom. It is part of our Trailblazer project to honor people who blaze trails in various ways here at Case Western Reserve. So come over and take a look at it when you get a chance. I think it's a great likeness of an incredible person. You'll hear more about him later. Some good news to share with you since our last homecoming. In August, we welcomed a new class of 1,350 undergraduate students. That would be the class of 2023. Can that be possible? It is the most diverse class in our history. It is among our most academically accomplished class. 19.5% of the students come from underrepresented groups. That's compared to 17% last year. We've been moving up. 17.5% of those students are Pell Grant recipients. Those are students who come from the most economically disadvantaged families in the United States, and that's up from 12% last year, and we are proud of those numbers. This year's class is 16% international students, so I know you've heard that fewer international students are coming, but not to Case Western Reserve. That compares to 13% last year. So these outstanding students join us from more than 1,000 high schools across the country, from 24 different countries. In addition to the United States, we have students from Puerto Rico and Guam and the District of Columbia, as well as the other states. 29% of our students spoke their first words in a language other than English. 13% of them are first in their families to go to college, and I know a number of our alumni were the first in their families to go to college too. So we are always proud to welcome those students. One of our students last year formed a new student organization specifically for those students called First Crew, standing for CWRU. And it's a terrific example of the way students become leaders on our campus. So this is a young student who founded this organization, and we think it's just great. She's very entrepreneurial too, because she came to my office and said, I heard that you will match the scholarship dollars that we raise. I hear you do that for some other groups on campus. Will you do it for us? So needless to say, I said yes, and I matched the scholarship dollars they raised, which was great. So those of you who have heard me speak anywhere in the last 4 years have heard me talk about the progress that we've been making with the Health Education Campus, our partnership with Cleveland Clinic. Well, I'm not going to talk about progress anymore because it is done. It is open. Everyone has moved into the Sheila and Eric Sampson Pavilion and the dental clinic in the late spring. Throughout the summer, people were getting settled, getting used to the new place. It's all working now. You will find our medical students, our nursing students, our dental students, our physician assistant students, all in that one big building. And it is large, 485,000 square feet. They are studying together, they're eating together, they're hanging out together, and we are confident that when we graduate those first classes, they're going to have an understanding of what it means to work in interprofessional teams better than any students we've educated so far. We are excited about the future, and I urge you to take a tour of the Health Education Campus. For now, if you can't get there, let me give you a virtual tour very quickly.
The Sampson Pavilion is like you're walking into an amazing dream.
It's beautiful and a ton of natural light.
It's amazing just walking in. It's so open and airy. You walk into the space and just want to connect with others.
Our students have incredible energy, passion, and aptitude. How can we prepare these bright young minds to really take healthcare to the next level?
To interact with other professions in the teams of the future.
And to use technology in a way that we've never done before.
We're calling it interprofessional education, but it's really about interprofessional relationships.
To sit next to each other at lunch, to be with each other in classes.
If we can support one another and understand what everybody's role is, that is going to make us stronger.
We've got to change the way that we're doing it.
The overall goal is to increase access to care and quality of care.
You can't do this all in a classroom. You have to get out, interacting with our community and helping improve the health of our community.
What's in this building is really quite remarkable. We're developing a whole new anatomy program. The first part of it is the augmented reality of the HoloLens. The second part is radiologic anatomy. And the third part of it is living anatomy, with living models with an ultrasound device.
We'll be using anatomage tables in our Cleveland Clinic Learner College of Madison curriculum. We're developing virtual reality. I think what the students are going to learn is a vastly more efficient way to pick up knowledge.
We have smart boards that facilitate communication.
We're going to be able to bring in people from all over the world, other cultures, other concepts, and other ideas.
And across the street, we will treat patients. We will have 3D printing and scanning and same-day dentistry.
The Critical Care Transport Center will provide an unprecedented opportunity to take a patient from an ambulance to a helicopter, experiencing what the helicopter ride would be like, and then moving them into a hospital unit.
We want to share this and have people from all over the world come and see what we're doing.
Well, I see this building as becoming a paradigm for health education. People on the outside seeing the students that we graduate are a different kind of student.
As we know, our competition is building as well. But we are ahead of the game.
Kind of the new generation, the next approach to healthcare.
And I'm very excited to be a part of that.
This will absolutely help to attract the best and the brightest.
The best faculty, the best students, the best staff in the world.
It is going to be a dream come true.
For our graduates in the health sciences schools, a little bit of a change from the facilities that you had when you were with us, and a dramatic improvement, I think. I don't know how many of you remember the Cleveland Institute of Art, the site on East Boulevard, but you will not find it there anymore. Case Western Reserve and the Cleveland Museum of Art a few years ago bought that site jointly when they were selling it to move to another location, and we now own it together. We just dedicated last month a public park that we put there called the East Bell Commons. I should add that it's a temporary public park because part of the site will be the home of a building that the Cleveland Museum of Art and Case Western Reserve will build together that will be the home of our joint programs. We have a joint degree program in art history. And that is a unique program because our students, instead of studying digital images, study actual objects in the Cleveland Museum of Art, and will have the experience of curating a show while they're students with us under the supervision of one of the museum's professional curators who are part of our Department of Art and Art History. You will also see, if you go by, that Philip Johnson's stunning Turning Point sculpture has returned to our campus. It is there on East Bell Commons, and there it will remain. Philip Johnson was a Cleveland native and one of the most influential and honored American-born architects of his time. He created the Turning Point in 1996 for a site that was on the Case Western Reserve campus, actually a site that is where we are right here. But we built the Tincomville University Center and had to relocate the Turning Point. So it's in a beautiful place, installed with incredible LED lighting that will allow us to do some really fun things. Be sure and come by and see it at night, and you'll see what we're doing. It also changes the whole look of the Frank Gehry designed Peter B. Lewis building, home of the Weatherhead School of Management. And I think you will enjoy the whole new look of the place. So Turning Point and its associated garden across Bellflower Road are dedicated to the memory of Peter Putnam and his mother, Mildred Andrews Putnam, who established the Putnam Art Endowment at Case Western Reserve. Next week, we will be breaking ground on Phase 2 of the Maltz Performing Arts Center. In Phase 2, you will find a state-of-the-art proscenium theater named in honor of Roe Green. Her father is a graduate of ours, of our law school. And you will find a black box theater, a rehearsal studio, costume and scene shops for students, classrooms, faculty offices, and all the things that you need for a great performing arts venue. And we are excited to be breaking ground on that. That'll be on Thursday. Since last homecoming, we concluded our capital campaign. It ended at the end of December. We raised a remarkable $1.82 billion, but don't worry, we have not stopped raising money for Case Western Reserve. I know you're not shocked to hear me say that. We are continuing to work on fundraising for scholarships, support for faculty, for research, and for capital projects that change our campus. So we had a great conclusion to the campaign. Best 6 months of fundraising in the history of Case Western Reserve University. And although he sort of retired, he's still with us. And I want to say again a tremendous thank you to our retired Senior Vice President of University Relations and Development, Bruce Losine, who is here today. Bruce. We didn't miss a beat, however, because thanks to great planning and attraction of incredible talent, our development team is now being led by Carol Moss, who assumed the job, stand up, Carol, on July 1st. Carol has been a frequent flyer here at Case Western Reserve University. She began her work at the university in the 1990s, working at the Case School of Engineering, and she returned to the university in 2011 after a little sabbatical. She went to Cleveland Clinic, where she led their Institute of Philanthropy, and she also spent time as head of development and university relations at the University of California, San Francisco. And we were lucky to attract her back. She came back to lead development at our School of Medicine and then took on all of the health sciences schools, and wow, did she deliver in that role. She has had an absolutely stunning record. We raised $800 million for the health sciences schools during that capital campaign, increased the goal for the School of Medicine from 350 to 500 million, and way beat that. So an incredible record, new attainment records for dental, for nursing. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Carol is doing a great job already, and if you haven't met her yet, please meet her today or sometime during the weekend. She will be around. It is always an honor to give you an update on the university and introduce you to some of our new players. I'm so happy to see all of you today. But the most important thing to happen is the events that are being coordinated by our Alumni Association and the honoring of our great alumni. And in order to kick that off, I want to introduce the president of the board of directors of the Case Western Reserve University Alumni Association, Alison Olin Gen Ski. Alison is concluding her second and final term as our leader. She has represented our Alumni Association at events in Denver and Boulder, not far from her Breckenridge home, as well as in Tokyo, Shanghai, Beijing, and Taipei. Alison traveled more than any leader by far of the Alumni Association we've ever had. She was also the driving force behind the Alumni Association's term scholarship, supporting a second-year student currently, and we are so proud about that. So Alison, thank you so much for your unwavering dedication to the Alumni Association. And to all of you, as you welcome Alison, just a reminder, homecoming parade, homecoming tailgate. Larry Sears is our Grand Marshal. I'm riding with him in a convertible if the weather cooperates. See you all tomorrow. Alison, it's yours. Thank you.
Thank you, President Snyder. On behalf of the Alumni Association, I'm proud to welcome our alumni, students, families, faculty, and staff in attendance today. I'm also excited to announce that earlier this morning, we welcomed 5 new board members to our organization. I'd like to ask them to stand and ask everyone to please join me in welcoming Chuck Brandman, who could not be here today, Dante Gibbs, Alex Krantz, Chris Pardis, and Jessica Slentz. I'd also like to recognize the current members of the Alumni Association Board of Directors. Those in attendance, please stand. Please remain standing as I ask the Emeriti board members in attendance to join you. We thank you all for your continued engagement. All of these changes also mean that we have several members of our board that have fulfilled their terms as of this year. If they could please stand, and you could please join me in thanking the following people for their service to Case Western Reserve University: Tom Iha, David A.G. Johnson Jr., Mario Pavasic, and Dwayne Pinder. One thing I'm most proud of shepherding during my time as board president is the Alumni Association Scholarship Fund, which is not the endowed scholarship that we have already awarded, but the term scholarship we have already awarded, but an endowed scholarship fund. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the board members, former board members, Emeriti board members, and all of our friends who have supported our recent initiative, and we hope that you'll consider donating to this important fund. So many of our student experiences were made possible by scholarships. I hope that current alumni will choose to support our future alumni. Together, we are continuing the tradition of doing truly exciting and impactful things. I hope you enjoy the amazing weekend that has been planned for you. Throughout the year, alumni offices associated with the schools of Case Western Reserve University present awards to alumni and members of the community. These award recipients are listed on the back of the luncheon program and will be honored throughout the weekend. We would like to ask all recipients who are here today to please stand so that we may recognize you. Please join me for a round of applause for all of our award recipients. This afternoon, we'll be focusing on the Alumni Association's awards, which celebrate excellence by honoring alumni and members of our community who have brought extraordinary pride to Case Western Reserve University. Our recognition committee is headed by board members Jessica Malone, College of Arts and Sciences, class of 2010, and Magda Marcel, Weatherhead School of Management, class of 2010. I'd like to thank Jessica and Magda for their hard work in putting this important program together. Unfortunately, Jessica is unable to join us this afternoon, but it is my pleasure to invite Magda and Marcel to join me on stage as we honor our recipients. We began our program with the Young Alumni Award, recognizing an outstanding graduate of Case Western University who is 35 years old or younger. This is given to a graduate who has demonstrated excellence in their professional field and has demonstrated service to their community, the public or humanity, embodying the values and spirit of the university. This year's Young Alumni Award is presented to J.P. Gralty, College of Arts and Sciences, class of 2010. Nominated by Samantha Coco of the Begun Center for Violence Prevention Research and Education at the Jack, Joseph, and Morton Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences, Gralty serves the community in a variety of roles. He's a healthcare navigator for Cleveland Catholic Charities Migration and Refugee Services, as well as a board member for the Interreligious Task Force on Central America and the Coalition with Young Adults. Previously the Assistant Director, Community Partnerships for John Carroll University, Gralty recently chose to return here to his alma mater to work as a program manager for the Community Innovation Network at the Jack, Joseph, and Morton Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences. In honor of an impressive start to what will certainly be an impressive career, it is my pleasure to present J.P. Gralty with the 2019 Young Alumni Award.
Thank you so much. I am honored and humbled to receive this award in recognition of my work to build connections across difference here in Northeast Ohio. In light of that, I'm going to do something a little different, but I promise whoever's checking my time that I'm going to keep it within the 3 minutes that you're giving me. I'm going to pose a question for all of you. Once I ask you the question, I'm going to give you 15 seconds to think about your answer. And then when I say go, I want you to turn to your neighbor and take 30 seconds to share your response. Then I'm going to prompt you to switch and take turns sharing and listening. Sound good? Promise you'll be able to do it. The question is, think about a time when you met someone who is different from you, who you had preconceived notions about, but when you actually met them, you were pleasantly surprised. What was the pleasant surprise? I'm going to repeat that for you. Think about a time when you met someone who is different from you, who you had preconceived notions about, but when you actually met them, you were pleasantly surprised. What was the pleasant surprise? Take 15 seconds of quiet now to remember that story. Now go, turn, and share with a neighbor. Now switch. If you haven't already done so, switch who's sharing and who's listening. Great. Now thank your partner. Thank your partner, and thank you so much for sharing. If you can hear my voice, please raise your hand. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Now I'm going to share my answer with you. I spent a year working here in Cleveland to help newly resettled refugees access the healthcare system. One of the people I accompanied was Hari. Hari was 30 years old, and she had a heart condition from her childhood. During her first few months in this country, I helped her get a needed heart surgery at the Cleveland Clinic. Visiting her the next day, Hari told me that I absolutely had to speak with her nurse right away, and she promptly pressed the nurse call button. I was so worried that something was wrong and that she was having a lot of trouble communicating what that might be. It turns out she found out that her nurse was from the Philippines, just like me. And she was so excited to introduce us to each other. Here, I had come to help Hari in her recovery from heart surgery the day before, and her first instinct was to help me make a connection. And so the point of all of this is that I believe that relationship building across difference matters, especially in this time of increasing fear and polarization. And I believe this is so important that a few weeks ago, I returned to build on this work here in the Community Innovation Network in the Mandel School. And so I would like to leave you with one thought. Imagine, what if our Case Western and Cleveland communities were neighbors to each other in the same spirit that Hari was neighbor to me, and that the people you spoke about in your stories were neighbor to you? Thank you.
Congratulations, JP. Our next award is the Daniel T. Clancy Alumni Service Award, which honors the legacy of Dan Clancy, the former Executive Director of the University Alumni Relations, former Associate Dean of the Law School, and a 1962 law school graduate. Dan and his wife, Carol, are here with us today. We're so pleased you were able to attend. The award is intended for an outstanding Case Western Reserve University graduate who has been an active member of the alumni community for at least 15 years and has made significant contributions to the Alumni Association and its programs. This year's recipient is Nikki DeFilippo, Weatherhead School of Management, class of 1994. Nominated by fellow alumna Susan Rea and Senior Director of Alumni Relations of Weatherhead School of Management, Shirley Reynolds, DeFilippo is a past president of the board of the Alumni Association of Case Western Reserve and the Weatherhead School of Management Alumni Board. An active volunteer with the university, she has served on numerous committees and in a variety of other positions. It is also worth noting that in addition to her service to Case Western Reserve University, DeFilippo is active in Opera Cleveland, the Cleveland chapter of the American Marketing Association, Cleveland Rowing, Leadership Cleveland, and Jumpstart Inc., a nonprofit committed to accelerating the success of diverse entrepreneurs. For her unending commitment and invaluable support to the university and its alumni, it is my pleasure to honor Nikki with the 2019 Daniel T. Clancy Alumni Service Award.
Fellow alumni, faculty, staff, and guests, I am so honored to be here today as the recipient of the Daniel T. Clancy Alumni Service Award. And I'm grateful beyond bounds to Brad Cruz, Alison Olin Gen Ski, Susan Rea, Shirley Reynolds, and the entire Alumni Association board and staff. I'd like to congratulate the other award winners and express that it is a privilege to be here with you today. Having worked with Dan Clancy firsthand, I have experienced his graciousness and have heard the warm expressions about Dan anytime I'd mention his name. Dan, it is with utmost respect and admiration that I am receiving the award that is presented in your name. I'd like to thank Dean Malhotra for engaging alumni and all stakeholders as we embark on the strategic plan for the Weatherhead School. And I'd like to thank President Barbara R. Snyder for her eternal leadership and support. Barbara, thanks for the free PR. I posted that congratulatory letter you sent to LinkedIn, and it has received over 30,000 views. If you could send me a letter every month, it would eliminate my entire marketing expense. Volunteering is not something I do when I have the time, but it's something that I make the time to do. There's a passion that drives me. Receiving this award has prompted me to look back at those who've inspired and influenced me, and I will mention two. First, the legendary #greatest of all time professor, the late Richard Osborne, also known as Gorilla, professor of entrepreneurship at the Weatherhead School. He was named one of Business Week's top 12 entrepreneurship professors in the nation in the 1990s. I am truly fortunate to have experienced his class, as his influence on my personal and professional life have been profound. He taught us about kindness, generosity, and service to others, and not to keep score on the giving of our time and resources, and not to expect anything in return. Gorilla created an enduring legacy that will live on for me and those who knew him. Secondly, my parents have inspired me greatly. They were born in Montenero Valcocchiata, a small hill town in south-central Italy between Rome and Naples in the middle of the Apennine Mountains. Resources were hard to come by, and my mom would often recount how she would walk to the fountain at the bottom of the hill, through the ice and snow to wash clothes there, and bring back a jug of water so they could cook, clean, and bathe. Despite the hardships, when any one person in the village needed help, everyone took it upon themselves to be of service. These values have been passed on and embody how I live my life today. For those of you who know me, know that I'm committed to the long-term success and prosperity of Case Western Reserve and Greater Cleveland. And as some of you may know, Professors David Cooperrider and Ron Fry from the Weatherhead School are leading a 2.5-day workshop using appreciative inquiry to set priorities and measurable goals for Greater Cleveland's economic future on October 29th through the 31st. I ask you to participate in the vision by sharing in your input on the website at clerisingsummit.com, so that we can attract the best and brightest students and encourage graduates to start their business here in the spirit of Richard Osborne. Thank you.
Congratulations, Nikki. Next, I would like to present the Newton D. Baker Distinguished Service Award, which is given for outstanding service to the university. Honoring the legacy of former Cleveland Mayor and U.S. Secretary of War, Newton D. Baker, this award recognizes significant service to the university by any alumnus or alumna, staff member, faculty, or friend who has given their time, expertise, or leadership generously, ensuring the prolonged welfare of the institution for generations to come. This year's recipient is Sara Fields, Director of Alumni Relations in the Office of Development and Alumni Relations for CWRU's School of Dental Medicine. Fields has worked in alumni relations for nearly 20 years for the School of Dental Medicine and was nominated for her efforts by School of Dental Medicine alumnus Mario Pavasic. When she's not working, Fields lends her energy and expertise to community organizations, including the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, a sorority of college-educated women dedicated to public service with an emphasis on programs that target the African American community, and the Singing Angels, an organization that encourages positive youth development through music and performing arts education. And we're not the only ones who've noticed how great Sara is. In 2014, she was feted for her dedicated service by the Cleveland's Forest City Dental Society. For her leadership, service, and commitment to Case Western Reserve University, its alumni, and its community, it is my honor to present Sara Fields with the 2019 Newton D. Baker Award.
Good afternoon. It is an honor to stand before you as the recipient of the Newton D. Baker Distinguished Service Award. I was just so elated when I got the phone call where I learned that I would be the next recipient. And I did a little homework. Newton D. Baker was quite an icon. Trying to narrow down his legacy in one sentence does not do him justice, but for the sake of time, I'll tell you that he urged everyone to volunteer their time, talent, and service to those in need. When I looked at the list of past recipients, I saw names like Dan Clancy, Dr. Robert Haney, Victor Gelb, and the Honorable Louis Stokes. These are individuals who serve the community beyond Case Western Reserve. And now, my name is added to that list. It's beyond me. To be recognized for what I think is just simply a way of life is truly amazing. And we all have the opportunity to serve. I invest time working on domestic violence initiatives, serving on boards and institutions, mentoring youth. I'm especially proud, though, to serve the alumni of Case Western Reserve University. For the past 18 years, I have gained a family and friends that have been wonderful to me and have helped me in my growth along the road of this thing called life. God truly blessed me when He planted me in the CWRU garden. Service is at the core of my being, and I want to encourage each of you to join me. They say each one teach one, but also each one serve one. Then we can all be served. If you think you don't have enough time, talent, or treasure to make a difference in service, let me remind you of this. The smallest stone makes a ripple in the water. I must thank the individual that nominated me, Dr. Mario Pavasek, and I thank the Alumni Association for bestowing this award. I'm humbled, I'm grateful, my soul stands on tiptoe. That's my time. Thank you for yours.
Congratulations, Sara. Our next award is the Professional Achievement Award, which recognizes a graduate of Case Western Reserve University who has achieved exceptional accomplishment in his or her career and has brought distinction to themselves and to the university through leadership in their professional community. We are pleased to present this year's Professional Achievement Award to Dr. Moses Jewel Oba, Graduate Studies in Pathology, classes of 1996 and 2003. Dr. Jewel Oba was nominated by Professor Janet McGrath of Case Western Reserve's Anthropology Department. Throughout his career, Dr. Jewel Oba has conducted extensive research on infectious diseases, including tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, and malaria. But he is also committed to guiding others to achieve great things. In addition to his position as Professor of Molecular Biology, Immunology, and Microbiology, and the current Dean of the School of Biomedical Sciences, College of Health Sciences at Makerere University, Dr. Jewel Oba is a TB laboratory consultant for the World Health Organization. And he currently serves as a reviewer for 6 journals, has trained and mentored 37 master's and 20 PhD students to the completion of their studies, has published more than 180 peer-reviewed papers, and has obtained numerous grants to further studies and programs. Beyond his amazing achievements and global reach related to the field of contagious diseases, Dr. Jewel Oba's love for Case Western Reserve is another thing in his life that has proven contagious. Dr. Jewel Oba's daughter began her first year at Case this fall. It is my pleasure to present Dr. Moses Jewel Oba with the 2019 Professional Achievement Award.
Thank you. Thank you, President Barbara Snyder, the selection committee, the organizers, fellow alumni, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very humbled. I would really want to appreciate the Uganda Case Western Reserve collaboration, through which I was selected to come here 25 years ago, over 10,000 kilometers from here. So we have just celebrated 30 years of that collaboration. I would really request the members of the collaboration who are here to stand up for recognition. Thank you. we really promise to continue the collaboration for 30 times 30 times 30 years. I am very grateful to Case Western Reserve University for a wonderful opportunity I received to have a quality education, which has actually enabled me to achieve all this. I'm very grateful to my mentors, supervisors, teachers, fellow students, and faculty who enabled me to go through. I would really particularly want to thank 3 people. Michael Jacobs, who received me here as a very younger person. Dr. Henry Boom, who has really been there for me. So, I know Jim Anderson probably could not make it, but I'm really very grateful. I also would like highly to appreciate my university, Makerere University, that allowed me to practice what I had learned. In that regard, I would like to request Professor Charles Vingera, my boss, the principal, to stand in on their behalf. And finally, I would really want to support, to appreciate the daily enormous support I receive from my family. My wife Edith, a double alumni of Case Western Reserve University, who couldn't come here, but I have my son here representing the family, Joshua, and my daughter, a freshman here at Case, Anna. I really want to encourage you, younger fellows, that you can also make it. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Dr. Jewel Oba. Our final award today is the Distinguished Alumni Award, which recognizes a graduate who has achieved extraordinary distinction in a career rooted at Case Western Reserve University and who has provided meritorious service to the university. This year, we are honored to recognize Robert Madison, School of Architecture class of 1948, and a recipient of an honorary degree in 2004 with the Distinguished Alumni Award. After graduating from Western Reserve University's School of Architecture, Madison earned a master's degree in architecture from Harvard University and completed additional studies as a Fulbright scholar at École des Beaux-Arts in Paris, France. Overcoming racial barriers, Madison became the first African-American registered architect in Ohio in 1950. Since then, he has literally created buildings that are works of art while figuratively kicking down doors. He went on to open the first African-American-owned architecture firm in Ohio, Robert P. Madison International Incorporated, and leave his mark locally, nationally, and internationally, as the company's major projects have included the nuclear facility at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, the Cleveland Browns Stadium, and the United States Embassy in Dakar, Senegal. Madison is a CWRU Emeritus Trustee and has been honored as the CWRU Trailblazer, a university initiative celebrating those distinguished Case Western Reserve University alumni, faculty, and administrators of color and women. For a lifetime of contributions to humanity, his profession, and his community, it is my honor to recognize Robert Madison with the 2019 Distinguished Alumni Award.
Thank you very much. I'm really very grateful and humbled by this recognition. I received my to receive this Distinguished Alumni Award from my alma mater, Western Reserve University. I extend my thanks to Kate McCready, who nominated me and, in her remarks, identified some buildings I designed, as well as other aspects of my career as an architect. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, President Snyder. I am most humbled by this very high honor, and I'm grateful to the Alumni Association for selecting me. I wish also to congratulate the other honorees who share this moment. I entered the School of Architecture of Western Reserve University 73 years ago, in September of 1946. I had just returned from Italy, where I was in mortal combat with German panzer divisions in World War II. I was a second lieutenant of the 92nd Infantry Division, the Buffalo Soldiers, and had been wounded in action on December 26 in the Circular Valley north of Pisa. I received the Purple Heart, several battle ribbons, and the GI Bill of Rights. During the early days at the school, I can truthfully report that my presence was not welcome here. Richard Basnick, in his book about the university, Beyond the Fence, describes the incidents quite adequately, and I refer you to his writings for more details. However, I did receive a degree from the university in 1948 with a final comment from the dean, quote, "You can find a job in a lumber yard." I said, "No, dean, I'll become an architect." Expectations were not very high or promising, and here I am today. Almost 20 years later, in 1966, Western Reserve University federated with Case Institute of Technology to form Case Western Reserve University. In 1967, I was elected to the Board of Trustees, and in 1974, after the university had suffered a severe financial crisis, then President Lou Trepfer instituted a procedure to solve the crisis by eliminating certain schools and departments from the university. Architecture was one of those schools. I fought extremely hard to preserve the school and received pledges of several $1 million from the leading Cleveland architectural firms, as well as the National American Institute of Architects. We were not successful. Architecture and several other departments were removed from the curriculum of CWRU. However, the university solved its problems, surviving crisis after crisis, and today is among the elite universities of America. I am extremely proud of its ability to address not only academic requirements, which is expected of a great university, but the social considerations which for years was a mark upon the school. And we can only note the great variety within the student body, faculty, and administration. This is a far different place than the one I entered years ago. And I am extremely grateful and proud. President Snyder has made a difference, and I salute her. With the African American Alumni Association, and I can say that through the years, I can have seen this university move along. One other critical matter to me, we no longer have a financial crisis as in 1973. The latest fundraising campaign for the university was successful beyond belief, and I strongly encourage the university to establish once again, a Department of Architecture. Of the highest quality at Case Western Reserve University. This is a great city. This is a great university. And architecture is expected and needed here in Cleveland. Briefly about my career. During my 62 years of practicing architecture, I designed hundreds of buildings of which I am proud. However, what pleases me more than anything else are the students I employed and taught to become architects, as well as architects who joined the firm migrating from England, Nigeria, Russia, France, Ghana, Ukraine, Canada, India, China, and all sections of the United States. We were black, white, yellow, brown, and we were male and female, equally employed and recognized for their ability, and we were Christian, Jew, Muslim, Hindu, and other according to their belief. We were the embodiment of the United Nations and worked together as a team to design large numbers of projects to enhance and ennoble the lives of mankind. I am most grateful and pleased of this record. Finally, I would like to leave you with a quotation from Theodore Roosevelt, which in effect was the inspiration for this life I lived. He says, "Far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered with failure, than to take rank with those poor spirits who neither suffer much nor enjoy much, because they live in the gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat." Please know once again that this Distinguished Alumni Award is a glorious triumph I am very proud of and will remember always. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
How about another round of applause for all of our honorees today? So I would like to say thank you to Alison for her remarkable 2 years of leadership for the Alumni Association. To Sara, I say I am privileged to call you an alumni colleague and friend. Congratulations. And to JP, Nikki, Professor Jewel Oba, and Mr. Madison, we are proud to call you alumni. It is an honor to be in your presence today, and thank you so much for representing Case Western Reserve so well. And in case anyone missed the message, we're expecting to see you at the parade watching tomorrow. So have a wonderful homecoming. Thank you all. All the honorees, if you'll come back to the stage, we'll get some photos. Thanks a lot.